In a short presentation like this, because I often do up to 2-day retreats and planning sessions and workshops with management teams, so in a short overview like this, I feel a little bit like a drunken discus thrower. When you think about somebody with no depth perception who's twirling around to throw a discus, who isn't going to set any records, but I'll sure bet he keeps the crowd alert. I just have that feeling. He's going to keep you kind of on your toes. So I don't expect that we're going to get deep into these things. We want to just do a quick overview. But I do hope we have a little bit of fun as we go along as well. You may have missed the medical study that came out a few years ago that showed that suppressed laughter goes back down, spreads the hips, and produces gas. You probably missed that study. I don't remember where I saw that one exactly. Doesn't that explain some things about some people you know? Right? Yeah, it just kind of puts it in perspective. So you will be subjected to my sense of humor, and our kids would be the first to warn you about that. As Gord mentioned, we have 3 kids. One of them now, Chris, our oldest, is off at University of Western Ontario. I live right now in the center of the universe, which of course is Kitchener, Ontario. But you all knew that anyway. And Chris is off to university. Jen will be off to the same university next year. And Vanessa is 15. One night around the supper table, I cracked what I thought was a pretty funny joke, and Chris rolled his eyes to the ceiling and he said, "Dad, that is really lame." He said, "I hope you don't use any of that kind of humor with any of your audiences." And he went on to say, "I'm really worried about our future if you do." So I have taken the pledge that I won't use dad jokes in any of my presentations. Anyone else here have teenagers? Anyone? Yeah, I thought so. A few teenagers here. Anyone else here have grandchildren? Hey, all right. Got lots of grandkids. Well, Heather and I, my wife and I, are told that grandkids are a reward for not killing your kids. Is that true? The teenage years, they can have some of their challenges sometimes. Of course, as the teenagers go through trying to define who they are and where they're going, and wrestling in lots of ways with many of the issues we're going to talk about here. Because, of course, we're never finished. Hopefully, all of our lives were unfinished works. So I think it was Picasso, the artist, who painted something like 20,000 paintings in his lifetime. Incredibly prolific artist. He said, "Great works of art are never finished, they're just abandoned." Right? Which to me is kind of an inspiring thought to think, well, hopefully none of us are ever really finished in our growth, finished in our development, finished in trying to wrestle with many of the leadership kinds of issues that we're going to touch on here this morning. Just one day, it's done. Right? But we're continually trying to grow, continually trying to develop.